who's not here. Okay, everybody, welcome to our first real Zoom. We tried to do it yesterday with, we only had a couple people. We have a couple more today, but not as many as I would like for sure. Welcome. I hope you guys are doing okay. I guess this is class day 5, right? So last week, I didn't give you too much. Hopefully you've finished all the app lab because we're moving on. But if you hand in any of that stuff, I will still grade it. So, and if you need help with anything, you can always contact me. My office hours every day will be 9 to 11. So, or actually 10 to 12. 10 to 12 are my office hours. So I will guaranteed be behind the computer and always 10 through 12, and I'll respond within a minute or two. Yeah, and you can contact me anytime about App Lab or about anything. I put in all the grades in Infinite Campus, so if you care about those things, please take a look at that at some point. Anyway, we are moving on from App Lab to do some hand coding or text coding, as getting away from the block coding. If we were together in a class environment, we would be able to program on our computers in a real environment. Unfortunately, I know a lot of you or most of you have Chromebooks, and Chromebooks are not great for programming. They are not built for programming. So we're gonna have to use an online program. And I've been looking around for what's best, and I couldn't find anything that was really great. But I think Khan Academy does a decent enough job, and I know you guys are all familiar with how Khan Academy works. And there are others. There's things called Code Academy. So what I like to do is we're going to use Khan Academy for maybe 2 weeks, and then I'll reevaluate and seeing if you're getting anything out of it, if you find it useful. So every day you'll have some assignments. You can move at your own pace, but I kind of expect that you're doing sort of, I would say 45 minutes to an hour a day of Khan. I don't know how. Again, I've never used this program before, so I don't really know how long it's going to take. So I definitely will try to ask for feedback along the way. But that is the plan, and I'm going to kind of walk us through that today. I think we'll have Zoom chats, 2 or 3 times a week like this. So I'm hoping we can get a few more people together. We have about 6 or 7 on today. So I'm hoping we can get a few more. If you do go onto the Zoom chat, that is enough for attendance. So you're all set. You don't have to fill out that form that's online. I will mark you present. Otherwise, if you're not there, I want you to fill out the form, or like tomorrow, we're not going to meet on Zoom. Fill out the form. I'll ask a question or have you, do some small assignment that you'll fill out some feedback on, and that's how I will take attendance. It needs to be done by 4. In case you didn't know, all your classes attendance is taken at 4. So if you're gonna, you can kind of do it at your own pace. But it needs to be done, at least the form needs to be done by 4, so I can mark you present or absent. Let's see, what else do I need to talk about? But again, I hope you can make the Zooms. They're not gonna be that long. But if you can't, I'm gonna put a recording of this online. Okay. Now, I guess I'm supposed to go over expectations on what's supposed to happen on a video conference before I begin. So let me just quickly roll through that. I put it in a document. I should have saved it. Here we go. Expectations. Come on. So I'll just go over these expectations on if all your classes will have gone through this, I think, if you had other Zooms, but they just want to make sure that you're supposed to be appropriate. I can't imagine that's going to be an issue here, but this document that I will link to on our webpage just says that I will always record the session. You can always ask questions. Probably the best way is this chat box. Okay, so you can see, you can put your question here. questions here. All right. Or, you can, the key thing is they want people to be appropriate. Make sure your workspace, your computer, if we might have you end up sharing your screen or things like that, or that you have just appropriate stuff out. Again, you're going to dress appropriately. You're going to, no curse words or hateful language, either through audio or through the chat. Same values of respect that you'd have in the classroom. Respect each other, stuff like that. There's a list of do's and don'ts that you can go over on your own, but I think you know what's appropriate and what's not. You guys are old enough, but they wanted me to share this document. Yeah, I'll just tell a quick story just because I like to have your attention. You know that I need that, even if it's just digitally. And so I do some programming outside of class, and I was working on a project where I needed an app built for Android, and I didn't know how to do it. And so one of the services you can use is these websites called freelancer.com. I think that's the one I use, where you can hire someone to do it. Right? It's kind of fascinating. And so you post your project. So I posted, I needed this app, whatever, and then people bid on it. Okay. And I went with, and often the bids come from other countries, and because if you're working in say Indonesia or something, you might be able to charge a lot less. So, it's kind of the whole globalization, movement, which isn't great for U.S. workers. But so I was like, all right, I know someone in Indonesia is going to do this app for me really, really cheap. I was like, okay, and it seemed like he had decent enough reviews. So I said, sure. So, you don't have to pay until the end of the project. And, I gave him all the specifics, and he wanted to video chat to get it more clear. And so, we went on one of these Zoom things, and he's in Indonesia, and he greets me with his shirt off. And I was just like, this is not okay. So it was very awkward. I was like, it's not how we do, it's not how you do business. So yeah, that was a weird experience. I expect that when we do this, everyone's going to have their clothing all on. Is the moral of the story. And so I canceled my deal with him. You want to be professional in the real world. And I did get a little like, oh, it's really cheap, but and then I went with someone else from another country, and it turned out that wasn't really a great option, because sometimes you do pay for, you get what you pay for, and they were able to do it really cheap. Part of the reason was because they just did it, kind of not a great job, and other things. So a little side note about that. All right. So that's not for us. Let's talk about what you're going to be doing. So I wanted to go over what JavaScript is real quick. So I'm just going to go over a slideshow for a couple minutes. Let's see here. How do I do present? Let's see how this works out. So JavaScript is one of many, many languages. All right. And that's the one that we're going to work on. It's a great language to know, and I'll kind of walk you around some things. And I'm not an expert at JavaScript. I would like to be better at it, but I've done some with it, and we'll talk about where it's used. It actually is. So you've been working in App Lab up until now, right? And it's a this block environment where you drag stuff over, but this is all JavaScript. So it's not going to be that unfamiliar to you at all. Okay. So like when you click on the text, like show text in App Lab, that's all JavaScript. This is just JavaScript here. So JavaScript is one of literally dozens of languages that are used by people all the time, right? And it serves a specific purpose. It started off as a language really for use in websites. So if you if you've done any HTML coding, for websites, you also will do like all the interactions, all the, like when you have, we could look at it on websites, but when, you have images that change, like a slider or like a mouse over, all that actually is JavaScript. So it started off really for that. And it really was like kind of a helper language to HTML. And every single website in the world will have probably quite a bit of JavaScript on it. And it can do some kind of powerful things. All that, like when you type into Google and you put in, how old is, and it fills stuff out, that's all JavaScript. That's all code that's being run that is written in JavaScript. Okay. In recent years, JavaScript has become like the cool language for servers. So it is incredibly fast. So Game On is all in JavaScript and on the server side. So I wrote it originally in PHP, a different language, and when many people use it at the same time, it got really slow because there's lots of connections. The way that Game On works, that like when the main computer says it's time for a question, it's constantly interacting with your phone, and that would really bog down in a different language. So I rewrote the whole thing in JavaScript, and you can see some things. I'm just looking here now. You can see a lot of stuff that you probably recognize: var, variable, an if statement, right? You have console.log. We saw that. So it has a lot of a lot of the stuff that you can recognize. I just copied a little bit of code from Game On. So it's really like the cool language for web programming now. So most of your online games, that's all JavaScript. Some even offline games like Angry Birds is written heavily in JavaScript. So a lot of smaller games. Your bigger games, your whatever, your Fortnite, your whatever, like big games are not written in JavaScript. But most games that are played online probably it's JavaScript. Okay, really good for platform like 2D games. Yeah. So again, there's lots of languages out here. I just looked for the most popular languages. So what percentage of people are using these languages? So 70% of people use JavaScript. And you can see, of programmers. So incredibly, most programmers will know some JavaScript because it's used in a lot of different ways. Especially if you're programming for the web, which most things are these days. All right. So really important language to learn out there. So we're going to spend some time learning JavaScript, and you've already learned a lot in App Lab, and especially like through the block environment. But we're gonna learn it through text-based. Okay. So again, if you were here, I'll show you. How many more slides do I have? Oh, just one more. Okay. So here's my website. If you were programming for a real application or like my Game On, you'd write it in an editor like what you see on my screen right now. So it color codes it. It makes it really nice. Unfortunately, our Chromebooks will not allow us to do this. So I needed to find a way for you to still do this stuff, but through an online platform, and that's why we're going to use Khan Academy. Okay. So question: are Python and Java similar? Yes, they're. So most languages, so if we looked at this slide here, besides HTML, CSS is a little bit there, and SQL is a little bit different, but all like real programming languages really are very similar. Like they have different syntax, they have different ways of doing some things, and maybe you don't put a semicolon, and maybe you put curly brackets. But everything that we've talked up to this point, variables, if statements, loops, functions, all of that is built into every language. So if you learned on Java, so Java and Python are the big two to learn on in college, or if you learn in JavaScript, what we're doing now, you can jump to Java or Python really easily. So like, I don't know Python very well. I've done very little on it. But if you just learn what we've done in JavaScript, you go to Python, you'll see that it's all the same ideas. It's all the same logical thinking. So it's almost like if you know Portuguese, you can learn Spanish without that much trouble. Like it's a little different, but if you speak Portuguese, you can understand Spanish speakers right off the bat. So they're all very similar, and the basics are the same in every language. So yeah, let's talk about Khan Academy. Where do I have it here? All right. So Khan Academy has lots of classes and all their classes are all their programming classes, or most of their programming classes are JavaScript. All right. They suggest we start with drawing and animation. So that's what we're going to start with. And if things go well, maybe we go to games afterwards. All right, because I think that would be interesting to people. So let's see. So the way it's going to work, hopefully you've all joined my class. I'll just verify that in a second. But every day there's going to be some assignments. So your assignment today, so I'm only going to talk for another couple minutes and take any questions, is you're going to do these first two. So they should be assigned to you. And you'll see that I want you to all right, there's a quick video to watch. All right, what is programming? It's 2 minutes long. And then they're going to tell you how it works on Khan Academy. All right, and then I want you to do the drawing basics. Right. So I'll look at it. I'll look at challenge simple snowman. These are the what you actually do the code. So, and again, it's not my ideal solution here for what's doing the class, but what they want us to draw a snowman using the ellipse command. So in the previous ones, you'll learn, and this is, I mean, didn't we do this in App Lab where we draw a circle, we give it an X, a Y, and the width and the height? We did that with Canvas. Maybe they called it circle instead of ellipse, but I'm not sure, I forget. Does anyone remember offhand, was it circle or ellipse? Someone tell me in the chat. Anybody listening to me? Anyone remember, was it circle or ellipse? Do you remember that command in App Lab where when we wanted to draw, like for that, the for loop activity where I had you draw 8 circles on the screen? Does anyone remember? Was it circle or was it circle? Abu Bakar says, okay. So here they call it ellipse, all right? And so there's a whole set of commands. If we go to the documentation, we'll see all of the commands that there are. Again, we don't drag these things. We just call them, so we'd have to write them. So if I wanted to circle, they want us to make a snowman, all right? So, all right, and they give us a hint. They say if you put in, over here is a hint, they'll really tell us how to do it, and a little bit too much so, to be honest. So this would draw a circle at the bottom. Then I can go to next step. I kind of want to do it on my own. So now I'm going to draw a circle above it. If this one's at 200, 300, well, let me just play around with it. Let me do it at 200, 200 in a smaller circle. The X and the Y are going to be a little smaller. Oh, that looks really good. All right. Now I want to have another circle on top. I'm just going to keep going with it. So same X, and then my Y will be up a little higher, and even a smaller circle. Yeah, it's not bad. I kind of want it to be a little higher, how it looks. So instead of 150, remember, I mean, this is just like in App Lab, that 0, 0, it's the top. So my Y right now is 150. I want it to be higher in my screen, which is closer to 0. So maybe I say 120. Oh, too high. 130. That looks the head looks a little small, doesn't it? I'm gonna make it 75, 75. So, oh, now we're talking. All right, so that's the idea. I can say next step, you did it, finish challenge. I did the assignment, okay? So this first one really won't take you very long. It's probably, 20, 30 minutes of an activity, okay? So that's the idea. Every day we do a little bit more. They'll talk about colors. So if you watch the video, they'll talk about how you do, how you make changes and things like that. You can always email me questions. You can contact me. So again, I don't think we'll do a Zoom tomorrow. I actually have another Zoom at 11. So I'll put a video on the next section and kind of some ideas in JavaScript. And then you'll do it, fill out the form online, just checking in with me. Okay. And that's the idea. We're going to do this for 2 weeks. If at the end of 2 weeks, I'm going to give you a survey. And if you guys think that, oh, this is not cool, I don't like this, let's do something else, I'll do something else. Like I'll try to be as flexible as I can. But that's the idea. So do you guys have any questions, any thoughts here?
Wait, Mr. Brolin?
Yeah, what's up?
The ones on what is it, Khan Academy? Which ones are we doing again?
Yeah, I will. If I should have assigned it to you, if I didn't, I'll reassign it. But it really should be. So you're in the intro to JavaScript drawing animation. So that's the big overriding topic, and you're going to do intro to programming, which is just like you watch 2 videos, and then drawing basics. Okay.
Okay.
So it's just those first 2. Right after this talk, I will make sure that I've assigned it to you. You need to have joined the Khan Classroom. So if you go to our website, you will see from yesterday, join Khan Academy. If you click on that link, it'll allow you to join our particular class. Then I can't assign you anything until you've joined. Okay. So at this point, at this point, just at this point, these are the people who are in the class. If you'd be so kind as to change, if you go into your profile, you'll be able to change your name. Like these 6 students at the bottom have done that already. These ones at the top, please change your name. Otherwise, I have to look up your ID whenever I have to put grades in, which is annoying. All right. Any other questions? So for today, again, to make it clear, if you have not joined the Khan Academy, do it. All right. And then do the 2 sections that I just mentioned. Hopefully they're already assigned to you. Sorry, my phone is annoying. And now the check-in form. You only need to do this if you're not on the Zoom. I see everyone's names who are on the Zoom. If you're on the Zoom, you don't need to do the check-in form, okay? Tomorrow, there'll be no Zoom conference, so you need to do the check-in form. Thursday, we'll have it again. Does that all make sense? Please tell me any questions now, or you can email them to me later.
Wait, what time are we having the Zoom on Thursday?
Sir, I think I'm going to stick with 11 o'clock. If that really doesn't work with you, you could email me. And I understand that, other classes might meet at 11. Hopefully you can make my class sometimes and their class sometimes. We're only going to do it like 2 or 3 times a week. I will always record them. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can watch the video. Okay?
Okay. Anybody
else out there? Any other questions, thoughts? I'm curious how if you're going to like Khan Academy. I feel like they do a nice job with it. It might be a little easy, but I guess at this time in life, that's not the worst thing in the world. All right. If that's it, I'm gonna call it for the day. So that was real short, but give you time to do the assignment. Besides that, enjoy the sunshine. Maybe you can get outside, throw a snowball around or something, and I'll check in with you. Well, we'll do a Zoom on Thursday, and hopefully I'll hear from you before then. All right. Have a good day, guys.